Information doesn't always announce itself. Most of the time, it moves quietly, through farmland deals no one talks about, empty airports no one questions, research papers no one verifies, and stadiums filled with noise that hides what really matters. It slips through screens, through comments, through data, through decisions made far away from the people they affect. And if you're not watching closely, you'll miss the moment where something small becomes something powerful. Tonight, we're pulling those threads together. The land, the flights, the fake science, the betting lines, the national teams. And we're following every trace they leave behind. Because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Welcome to the Mind War Podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Mind War Podcast. Today we've got a packed episode. Grandmaster's going to kick us off from the start, and we're just going to jump right into it.
All right. Okay, today we're going to talk about a thing called land grabbing.
Okay.
There's a quiet shift happening in the middle of the country. Not in the cities, not in the places people argue about online, but in farmland, the kind families hold on to for generations. And suddenly those families are getting offers, big offers, cash offers. No inspections, no negotiations, just signatures. And the buyers, well, you won't recognize a single name. They're layered LLCs, shell companies, money that loops through enough hands that the trail dissolves into static, but the land they're buying isn't random. Okay, most of these lands sits near railways, water systems, energy corridors, places where infrastructure meets vulnerability. Maybe it's investment, maybe it's coincidence. I don't think either. Or maybe someone understands that control of land becomes control of supply. That's it. And if that's true, that isn't about farming, it's about positioning. Now, this has been going on for a while, I've heard. Because the rich people in the world have been buying land.
Right.
So,
well, where we live in Central Florida, right next to the largest retirement community in the world,
the Villages,
we see it.
Talk about land grabbing.
More than daily, almost hourly. There is no sanctity of woods and forest and land. Everything has to be turned into the concrete jungle, which your granddaughter, who is 10 years old, makes the statement, if they keep tearing down all the trees, we're not going to have any oxygen.
Well, and I think some of this is they're taking farmland. They're buying farmland, and now then they control products that way. Then they control price of products.
Of course.
So
the increase of chicken pricing, the increase of beef pricing.
The fact that they're grabbing the land, it's not making the headlines, and nobody's talking about it. I mean, it's a big world out there, I get it, but we need to start paying attention.
Grandmaster, you and I, it feels like, talk every day about a new subdivision popping up, about a new development, about a new business that's moving in.
Yeah.
It's scary to the point that they can keep this hidden under shell companies and trusts, and it dissolves. Nobody knows really where this money's going.
And Big Brother's got to be involved, because otherwise, if it was us, we'd be in all kinds of... I mean, look, we've had a couple of our videos stopped from being put up. Right. We haven't said anything.
Right.
So, yeah, that's something to pay attention to, folks. Grabbing of the land.
So, switching to another story that has kind of been hidden, been kept quiet. The name of the disease is Bixonomania. Bixonomania.
Oh, God, what is that?
It's a disease that never existed.
What do you mean?
It's a new disease that spread across social media last week. It had a name, it had symptoms, it had warnings formatted like official CDC alerts. People shared it, people worried about it, some even claimed they had it.
Of course.
The disease didn't exist.
So what was the point?
There's no pathogen, there's no outbreak, there's no medical basis, just a word. Bixonomania, engineered by an AI system and released into the wild. And the public did the rest. This is scary on a whole different level. Self-diagnosis, anxiety spirals, influences offering detoxes, fringe outlets reporting it as emerging. This wasn't a prank, it was a proof concept. A demonstration of how easily a synthetic threat can hijack human psychology.
COVID.
Exactly. Fear spreads faster than facts, and whoever understands that controls the emotional temperature of entire populations. This is the new battlefield, weaponized imagination. Grandmaster, this is fear on a different level. And I don't know if it is.
They set it all up. They set it all up, not to interrupt. Sorry. They set it all up with the COVID BS.
Mm-hmm.
Shut down the entire world.
The mask will save you. The mask can't filter out a fart that comes out of my butt through my underwear, jeans, and a mask.
Yeah.
But if you wear a mask on your face, you won't have
the same mask that you hang in your car every time you go in the store.
And go into the store and touch the cans that everybody else had and then touch your mask and then, I mean, come on.
Well, it's because it's not real.
But the scary thing is, Grandmaster, is it's becoming common. We're not
paying attention,
up in arms about it, raising hell, going, what the heck is going on? No. We're looking at social media posts going, oh my God, I think that I have, I got to pull it back up because I can't pronounce it for anything. I have Bixonomania. Woo! Before you know it, there's going to be a
treatment.
A pharmaceutical company that has medication to prevent you from Bixonomania.
Oh, yeah. And there's 4 levels of Bixonomania.
Right.
There has to be.
Scary to the point that it's not being reported. And is this a test? Is this a psychological warfare test? Is a sleeper cell saying, let's see what we can create and see how far it goes?
How scared they will become.
Right. It worked with COVID. I've never seen a country or a world completely shut down over a few words that were stated.
Mm-hmm. A few clowns decided it was supposed to be. Right. I'm not saying it's that there wasn't a virus. I'm not saying that.
But when Lysol cans from the 1970s at the bottom
say COVID
says coronavirus, cures coronavirus.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that kind of leads into this one a little bit. It's all like a bait and switch type thing, right?
Right.
But believe it or not, there are planes flying right now with almost nobody on them all over the world. They're not delayed. They're not canceled. They're just empty. Empty planes. They call them ghost flights. A handful of passengers, sometimes none, but they still take off, still burn fuel, still cross the sky like everything is normal. Why? Because in aviation, you stop flying a route, you can lose it, whatever that means. Yeah, must be a quick route. And if you own the rights to that quick route, then maybe someone else can't use it. Well, then I can think of, and airlines would rather lose money today than lose territory tomorrow. Interesting. So it's about territory?
Well, I can understand that mindset. I would rather lose today to be able to keep my land. My question is, we're talking about airspace.
Well, we're talking about money too. It costs money to fly.
Right.
Even an empty plane costs money.
They're sending flights with no passengers to protect their airspace. So if somebody else flies that exact same path and you can't fly it today, can you not just move your position?
No, because it's probably got the quickest route because, the jet streams and all that stuff. Now, all the stuff that they're doing is legal, according to the news. The report I have, it's legal. They're allowed to do this. They're allowed to fly perfectly invisible to the public because when you see a plane flying, you think it's packed full like sardines, right? It's a strategic thing because this isn't about passengers, it's about holding ground in the air, which I didn't realize that. I really didn't. A quiet reminder that power doesn't always look like force. Sometimes it looks like an empty cabin. Crossing the sky for no reason you were ever meant to notice. So you see all these planes flying, planes taking off from Orlando or Tampa, planes landing. Doesn't
Do they have passengers?
Planes that crash out and blow up or crash out there, they say there were 600 people on board. Were there? Was there really?
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Scary.
Yeah, the whole idea that they're flying, and then they want to complain about the pricing of the fuel and how much it costs to fly. This isn't helping with the price of flying.
No, if you don't have enough passengers,
It's costing more. So
stop the flight.
that's why we're having a boost in having the cost of flying. I mean,
Scary. Well, I think we're kind of sticking with a theme today about things that are hidden or never existed.
Yeah, so next time you take a look out your window and you see a plane flying, you're going to look and think to yourself,
Wonder if it's full.
is it full or is it just like two pilots?
That are just going through the
motions to keep that airline, that space.
And those pilots are getting paid.
Yeah.
They're not flying for free.
Nobody flies for free.
Right. So on this same path, the next story is quite interesting. A wave of academic papers has been circulating through research networks. Detailed, cited, formatted properly, and completely fake. AI-generated studies with data tables, references, and conclusions slipped into preprint servers, internal memos, and university literature reviews before anyone realized they weren't real. This isn't misinformation. This is epistemic warfare, an attack on the process we use to determine truth. If you can flood the academic ecosystem with fabricated research, you can distort policy.
They distort history now anyway.
Undermine institutions and overwhelm the system with until nothing feels reliable. The goal isn't persuasion, it's confusion. A world where every fact has a synthetic twin and no one knows which one to trust.
Fact.
This that we're on right now, social media, internet, while it's one of the coolest things, and we're in a generation that we kind of get to see this come into fruition, it's beyond scary.
Yeah.
You can literally have AI create a news story with references, with citations that never existed.
Just for the purpose of fooling the population.
Well, in
or
my
creating
opinion,
the narrative or extending the narrative.
they're little tests.
Of course they're tests.
We're going to do this and see what the reaction is. See how it shapes the direction of mind thought for today. Tomorrow we'll introduce another story, and the next day and the next. Before you know it, we're sitting here watching the news. Is that really Zoran Mandami on the TV? Or is it AI generated and we're left to figure out what's real and what's not?
Yeah.
The scary world we live in, and it scares me for your grandkids, for my grandkids. Hopefully you and I will be long gone before this takes over the world and it gets beyond disgusting. But our grandkids are going to be living right in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's corrupt. Speaking of corruption, the real game behind the game is this next copy. Now we're diving into the sports side of it. Every week, millions watch the NFL, the NBA, the big leagues. Doesn't matter which one.
Right.
They watch the plays, the hits, the highlights. But there's another game running underneath all of it. It's called the betting line. Now, you can't gamble as a player, but sports is all about the line. Everything's about the line. They're going to win by 7.5. They're going to win by 3. It's all judged by that, right? And sometimes the lines move before anything actually happens. They move before the game, before whatever, right? Before injury reports, before announcements, before the public knows a thing. Point spreads shift. Totals tighten. Odds swing. And then, hours later, the news breaks. A player is out, limited, not 100%. And suddenly, the movement makes sense. It makes total sense to us as the fans, right? But the real question is, who knew first? Who knew first? Because the kind of movement that doesn't come from guessing, it comes from information. Early information that hits the market before it hits the fans. So there's somebody out there getting this insider trading, right? This inside information to be able to bet the proper way, right? I would say they say maybe it's insiders. I say maybe it's people was it scrapping or scraping for whatever money. Maybe it's a money connection to people who don't miss. But when it happens consistently, it stops looking random. I can watch a game. We do this all the time. They're going to lose.
Right.
Just because the narrative of the announcers. So they must know. Okay. And in a world where betting is built into the broadcast, because you got these guys on game day. They're giving their who they think is going to win. That plays into the gambling thing, right?
And they back it up with statistics,
of course,
research, player names. So as a fan who, let's just say betting is my life.
Sure.
That's how I provide for my family. I listen to these reports, these commentators. I pull that information to help me decide how to bet.
Listen, but the information that they're giving you is not power, it's profit, massive profit, which means the game you're watching might not be the only one being played.
And it's definitely not. We know that.
And we watch it all the time.
Right.
A team goes up by so many points, and then they start giving away the points because they weren't supposed to win, or they were only supposed to win by 3. So they let that other team get all the way back into 3, and then the game's over.
Right.
We see this all the time. It's way too much.
Yeah.
Some sports it's too obvious. You can really see it. Other sports not so obvious. But in the NFL, you can see it all day long.
Sure.
In the NBA, all day long.
But the NBA has players, whoever's over the players, telling them what to do. They're getting smart. A missed free throw.
That's what we talked about yesterday.
Right.
They're missing statistically not on who wins or loses. They're going by statistics like missed free throw, bad pass, good pass, whatever.
And prove that you missed that free throw intentionally.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't.
The scary thing is, so you were talking about this information hitting prior to the news, any of that. So players can't bet on themselves. Ask Pete Rose. And I will probably hammer that anytime we're talking about betting in sports, because I think it's a tragedy
What happened to Pete Rose?
that Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, you can't bet on yourself. But today, Badger Cincinnati is supposed to take martial arts class. And there's a line on Badger will make it through 30 minutes. Badger will make it through 45. But all of a sudden, people start taking the under on that. Because Badger told Grandmaster, hey, listen, bro, we're not going to say anything. We're going to keep this low. But tonight, I'm not taking class. I'm hurting. I'm sore. I don't feel like it. But go put 500 on me being under in total minutes played. Well, a $500 bet then shifts that entire market, and everybody goes, whoa, somebody must have heard something. Is Badger not going to play tonight? Well, just in case, I'm going to put $20 on the under, and I'll put 40 on the over.
Yeah. It's all a scheme.
It's disgusting,
Yeah,
and it's scary.
It takes away from the game being pure.
All right. So to wrap up our podcast tonight, I'm gonna pull a psyops news. National team psyops before qualifiers. Several national teams preparing for international qualifiers reported a coordinated wave of psychological attacks targeting their players. Anonymous accounts, thousands of them, sent personalized pressure messages, fabricated rumors, AI generated fan disappointment videos, deepfake audio of coaches criticizing players, even targeted reminders of past injuries. This wasn't public influence, it was performance sabotage. Athletes described anxiety spikes, sleep disruption, and a sense of being watched. Sports psychologists called it externalized intrusive cognition, a sterile phrase for something much darker. This is the militarization of sports psychology, not to win games, but to destabilize nations through their symbols of pride. When a team collapses on the world stage, it's not just a loss, it's a message. This story I felt like resonated with you extremely well. Okay, soccer is your world.
Okay, but I believe a lot of that is true, but I don't know how. If you're an athlete, a professional athlete on the world stage, anything sent to you via internet or whatever, I don't know how you cannot have a mental stability to play on that world stage.
Okay, Grandmaster, let's talk. Let's break that statement down. We live in a Bobo and diapers world.
Not all of the countries are in Bobo and diapers.
The majority. The influence comes from the United States. If you're an athlete from outside of the United States, you look at United States athletes as spoiled, pampered,
sure,
get whatever they want,
yeah,
the whole 9 yards. We then look back at when we
were young. I look at that as club spoiled, but not national teams are not spoiled in this country. The national teams in this country are treated differently. They don't get the money. They don't get they get to run rampant with their LGBTQ agendas. They get to run rampant if they had a MAGA agenda, or if they didn't have a MAGA. They get to do whatever they want to. The rest of the world's international teams are governed under the international protocols of their country and are treated as such. There's a difference.
But that still doesn't fix the softness in the world today.
No, it doesn't fix the softness.
He called me a bad name and said I'm a bad player because I missed that shot. Well, guess what? 10 million people have missed that shot. Yeah. Get over it.
Yeah, I think they're out there looking for the ones that are weak-minded. I would hope that there's less than that, and the fact that sports psychologists can come up with a name for it, then there'll be a pill for it next. So pharmaceuticals can treat you for externalized intrusive cognition disease. Get out of here with that crap.
It's going to happen, though.
I mean, if you plan to be in the public eye, then you take the consequence of being in the public eye, right? So you're getting harassed. I don't think anything should be racial. I don't think anything should be whatever your gender specific is, or what your sexual desire, whatever. That should not play into no sports. But if they heckle you, or they say you're a bum, or they say you're not fast enough, get over it. That's reality. That's the way the fans are.
And you chose this life. You chose to become a professional player.
But see, I look at Italy missing the third now World Cup in a row. I don't know how that destabilizes a country, but it does hurt the pride of the nation. Right, they got a great prime minister in Maloney, so they don't have no issues there in the political side of the house and strength as a country. But I think sports soccer is everything to them, like it is in most of your countries over around the world. And for their team not to miss the third straight World Cup, that's a bit much.
Right. In the United States, that may not resonate so much because in the United States,
we're not expecting
soccer is not like the premier, but it's the equivalent of saying something along the lines of the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes missed the playoffs for the third straight year. For American fans, especially Kansas City fans, that would be devastating. But
wait,
Americans don't understand the realm of sport.
But where we are sitting here in America, when I found out Italy lost to Bosnia Herzegovina and couldn't go on, I was shocked.
You were.
I was totally shocked because I'm a soccer fan.
Of course.
I was like, oh my God, Italy's not in a World Cup. Another World Cup without Italia? I was like, the Azzurri's not playing? What? And I'm not a fan of the Azzurri, although I do like them outside of my team playing. But I do like the Azzurri. I shouldn't say I'm not a fan. I am a fan. But I'm like, they're not my number one team. But I do like the World Cup when they're in it because they do great things when they play, right? So great soccer nation. But for the last 12 years?
Yeah.
14 years if you don't count. If you count the qualifiers after the Euro they won. So I don't know that last statement of when the team collapses on the world stage, it's not just a loss, it's a message. What is the message they're putting out here? The message for me would be that they'd better do something with their academies because they're turning into an American soccer team. Their academies are playing different views, different ways, whatever. And this is where psychological warfare can come into play by messages being sent to players if they're not doing well. So that part I agree with. I do agree with that part. So I'll take back a little bit of what I said earlier.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, another great episode. The stories that we're coming across are shocking. They really are. The fact that so much goes on in this world and goes under or not reported at all, and it affects your day-to-day life. These aren't major things. These are minor things that are slipping through the cracks. An empty airplane, a made-up disease name,
land grabbing.
These are all small things that, as the common everyday citizen, we don't realize until it's too late. Stay sharp. Understand this entire world is nothing but psychological warfare, and have a great day.
Remember to be kind. Always.